Hello guys, and welcome to our lesson today. I'm teacher Cleophas, and in this lesson we are going to discuss the cumulative frequency curves. Our objectives: 1. By the end of this lesson you should be able to draw cumulative frequency curves or graphs. You should also be able to use the cumulative frequency graphs in determining the median, quartiles, deciles, and percentiles. Cumulative frequency curves. Representing cumulative frequency data on a graph is the most efficient way to understand the data and derive results. Cumulative frequencies are plotted on the vertical axis or y-axis against the upper class boundaries on the horizontal axis or x-axis. The cumulative frequency curve is also known as ogive. Example: the times taken by 50 students to complete their maths assignment are as shown in the table below. This is the table where the first column denotes the time m in minutes and the second column shows us the frequency. The first question: we are required to draw a cumulative frequency curve to represent this data. Question 2: estimate the median time taken by the students from the curve. C. Estimate the lower quartile of the time taken. Question D. Estimate the upper quartile of the time taken. E. Use your answers to C and D to estimate the interquartile range. Question F. Estimate the 7th decile of the time taken. Our final question: estimate the 20th percentile of the time taken. Solution. First of all, this is the table given. It shows us the time and the frequency. We are supposed to add another column for the cumulative frequency. And to fill this column, first of all, we need to understand that the cumulative frequency means the running frequency totals on that column. So the first point is the frequency of the first class, which is 1. Then to get the next, we take 1 plus 7, which gives us 8. Next is 8 plus 11, which is 19. Then 19 plus 12 gives us 31. 31 plus 12, we get 43. And then 43 plus 7, that gives us 50 as our last cumulative frequency. This last cumulative frequency is the same as the total frequency. To plot our graph, we use the cumulative frequency on the y-axis against the upper class boundary on the x-axis. We therefore obtain the following points from the table: 15, 1, 28, 25, 19, 30, 31, 35, 43, and 40, 50. Then now we move to our graph. The first thing to do is to draw the axis and label x, y. The next thing is write cumulative frequency on the y-axis, and then time m in minutes on the x-axis. Choose an appropriate scale and apply it on the axis. Then we now move to the plotting the points. The first point is 15, 1. The next point is 28. The next one is 25, 19. Then 30, 31. The next one, and finally 40, 50. Now we have all the points plotted on the graph. What we need to do is now to join the points using a freehand to give us a smooth curve like that. This is what we call the cumulative frequency curve or cumulative frequency graph. On to the next question. Estimate the median time taken by the students. First of all, we divide the total frequency, which is the sum of f, by 2. The total frequency, that is summation of f, is the same as the cumulative frequency in the last class, as we have said earlier. So 50 divided by 2 is 25. Back to our graph, we need to identify the position of 25 on the y-axis, then draw a horizontal line until it touches the curve, then drop downwards to the x-axis rather, and then we read that value, which is 28, and then we can declare that our median is 28 minutes. Next question, estimate the lower quartile of the time taken. We shall first multiply the total frequency by a quarter. So a quarter times 50 is 12.5. Then we move to our graph. We need to identify the 12.5, draw a horizontal line, then drop downwards towards the x-axis, and then read this value, which is 22.5. So our lower quartile is 22.5 minutes. Next question, question D, estimate the upper quartile of the time taken. So here we shall multiply the total frequency by 3 quarters. So 3 quarters times 50 is 37.5. Then in our graph, we identify 37.5 on the y-axis, then draw a horizontal line until it touches the curve, then drop downwards and read that value on the x-axis, which is 33, and then declare that the upper quartile is 33 minutes. Question E. Use your answers to C and D to estimate the interquartile range. Interquartile range means the difference between the upper quartile and lower quartile. Or in simple terms, interquartile range equals to upper quartile minus lower quartile. Our upper quartile is 33 and our lower quartile is 22.5. So the difference between the two is 10.5 minutes, which gives us the interquartile range. Question F. Estimate the 7th decile of the time taken. Decile means a fraction of 10. So 7th decile means 7 over 10. So we multiply the total frequency by 7 over 10. So 7 over 10 times 15 is 35. Then to our graph, we identify 35, then draw a line towards the curve and drop downwards. On the x-axis, we read this value, which is 32, and then declare that the 7th decile is 32 minutes. Question G. Estimate the 20th percentile of the time taken. We first multiply the total frequency by 20 over 100. This implies that 20 over 100 times 50 gives us 10. Then on our graph, we identify 10 on the y-axis. As usual, we draw a line towards the curve and then drop downwards. Then we read this value. It's going to be 21. Then declare that the 20th percentile is 21 minutes. Now we are done. It's now your time to try out these questions. Question 1. Draw a cumulative frequency curve for the frequency table below. This is the frequency table. After drawing this, estimate the median of the data from the graph. Question C. Estimate the lower and upper quartiles of the data from the graph. D. Evaluate an estimate value for the interquartile range. Then estimate the 3rd decile of the data from the graph. Finally, estimate the 70th percentile of the data from the graph.